There's a thumbnail. Orange and pink mixed together. The pink reflected off. Oops, we got pigeons eating the chicken bones here. What's going on there? So anyway, Paramount, I discovered from another vlogger, and this would be the world of Micah, M-I-C-A-H. He and his wife or significant other, what have you, went to New York. I think they're from Florida originally. I discovered them through the Daily Woo. Anyway, they were in New York. Yes, I guess they're there for a few days. And I actually got some information off of them that was helpful for my personal situation. So they went past the Paramount Theater. It turns out it's at 1501 Broadway in New York. We saw 1501 and we're like, boom, we needed that number because I took care of someone's dogs on the 15th floor of the Murano in 1502. It was an issue as to who might have been in 1501 because whoever was in 1501 could cause agitation. It's hard to explain. Oops, got a little whistling in my tongue there. It's hard to explain. I've had to learn that because of my experience and the level of, stunned, shell-shocked PTSD I was actually in, even though you can't tell today as easily, but that's why I walk around with the camera. I had, someone had to come in and say, when you're around it would be like around certain personalities you can't function. It's in that realm. So there are certain potential, like actual family lineages that could totally cause people to flip out all the time. Whoever lived in 1501, the Murano, I doubt they are still there because so many people have moved. They all got those for cheap to begin with because there was a housing bubble. And they advertised it, so that would mean anyone in the government would really quick jump on that to buy them for cheap if they had the money. So they got into the Murano for cheap, 21st and Market. During auction, they had an auction for that. Can we go back? And they weren't ready on time, so they all lived in the St. James. I found this out because I was taking care of people's dogs. So they all lived in the St. James around 8th and Chestnut-ish or so, near Washington Square. How apropos. Then they moved over to the Murano when their units were finally ready, so they had to wait in the St. James before going to the Murano. M-U-R-A-N-O. Anyway, whoever was in 1501 caused more aggravation. So my experience kicking off in 2011, I actually believed it was the last night of my life. This caused major brain transformations and reprogramming, trust me. So I talked about that in the first video with narratives and stories. But what went on relentlessly for the following years would be certain forms of harassment, which could include purposely placing people in certain units in a building that can cause people to flip out and get angry. So when you see someone flipping out, they could be traumatized to begin with, they're neglected and lacking, and it could be through no fault of their own. Not everybody winds up with a job, flying airplanes. You have to be super privileged to wind up in that position. I mean, very privileged. Extremely privileged, especially for private. How do you get a private? So anyway, who knows anyone? Are you gonna be in the mafia? So to fly for certain companies. So anyway, point being, what was I saying? Murano, getting job. Not everybody can job. So all you need is to be blackballed, blacklisted, treated in such a way where nothing goes your way. You're scraping for dollars, you're afraid, you're scared, and you shouldn't be. And say you grew up in such a way where everybody else is doing fine and you're not. And it's like, and you work the hardest than everybody else. And you're like, this doesn't add up. I started work when I was 15 years old at Burger King, then worked for credit card companies, temp agencies, this, that, and the other, publishing companies. What's the problem? Say in every single one of those jobs, people are put in place who are agitators. Maybe it's like Molly Ringwald from Pretty in Pink. It would be like her lineage. Say for some reason, the Molly Ringwald lookalikes of the world create anger in a person, and they know they can do it, which is how they got to the top of a specific pyramid. Say in her lineage, in this case, someone wrote about this, and I was like, I don't know, I liked Pretty in Pink. I don't know anything about these people. I have seen people who resemble her, and they know they can keep pushing people aside, and then and say they get hired for 1 or 2 films just so Hollywood can figure out who they are, because they're such a problem as opposed to a benefit. What if people are actually hired and they still get money, but they're actually being sniffed out? Meanwhile, people who deserve the positions are overlooked because they're not a problem in society. Problems in society actually get jobs in Hollywood. They will actually bring people in to figure out what they do and how they cause so many problems for everybody else. You're like, they get to make $5 million while they rape and torture people? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now you know the secret to Hollywood, at least, or similar. Music industry, there are people who are like, if you knew who these people were in person, you would just be like, these people are total pig trash. Everybody else is trying to pursue some sort of dream that doesn't exist. If you knew how stupid they were, somehow someone puppeted them and played a guitar. Is this open, or are we too early? Oh, let me get a... super early. In my mind, I didn't realize what time it was. I thought I was too early, but they're open. It must be just after 8. Right.
Can I have a quarter pound of the milk chocolate monopoly?
So yum yum. All the sweets smell good, although there's one corner of Reading Terminal that smells like dead bodies, so I'm not sure why everybody puts up with it. Because it didn't always smell that way. It started about 10 years ago, maybe 12. It's like, what do they stick in the meat locker, and why won't they change it? Because it didn't used to smell like that back in the day. Here's all the yummies. Might as well go through it zigzag. Go through to the other side. Of course, there's, they got music in here and everything, but anyway.